My dearly beloveds, we are gathered here today to make my first Instagram video ever. I just said Instagram. No, I'm already messing it up and I'm 2 seconds in. We have to do better than this. YouTube video. I'm finally on YouTube. And that's crazy. That is so crazy. So thank you for being here. And I am really nervous and excited at the same time. And it's actually taken me about 2 weeks to even actually sit down and make it. Like, I've been thinking about it and I've just been nervous and overthinking it. And so here we are, we're sitting down, we're talking, we're doing the thing. So if you've watched any of my content before, you might know that I make a lot of educational content and that I have to cram all of that into 60 seconds, since before I was just making reels and shorts. And so actually today I made a reel about the things that I wish I knew before I started van life, before I moved into a vehicle. And I could only put 5 points in those 60 seconds. And so we are here to expand upon and finish those thoughts and add more and, you know, really dive into that conversation deeper. So I want to dive right into this topic and get started. I highly recommend actually doing the math of how much money you're spending now in your current lifestyle versus how much you'll spend when you start van life, because I was really surprised. I'm really good at not falling for the, you know, the pretty Instagram lies and whatnot. But when it came to budgets, people were like, I'm paying off my bills, I'm paying off my debt, and I was just kind of expecting to make, you know, to be saving more than, I think it's $800. I'll put it on the screen. And I was kind of surprised by that, as well as I was surprised by the frequency and the expensive cost of maintenance bills. I have been just swallowed alive by them numerous times. I recommend budgeting for it, having savings for it, and thinking about that in your monthly costs as well. One of the biggest tips that I hear when I talk to van lifers about what people should do when they're thinking about starting is just get out and car camp. Get out and sleep in your car. Whatever you have now, just get started. If you can buy just a van and you can't afford the build, just buy the van. Get out there and get started. I'm actually the host of a podcast called VanLife Unfiltered. And I heard that from like guest after guest after. It's like the always answer. And I car camped for 2 years before I actually got my van, and it prepared me because I was good at finding parking spots. I knew what to expect, as well as I knew what things I had to have in my build and what things I could do without, which when it came to budgeting, that helped me a lot. My sink faucet was $7, but my heater was $3,000, because I knew when it came to temperature control, I needed a bit more there and I wanted to take it really seriously. When it came to water, it just needed to come out of the pump. Like, that's all I needed. So know what you need before you start your build. And by car camping and by having experiences before you actually spend the money and you do the build, you're really going to know what you're signing up for. If you can go to an RV dealership or get into another camper and really just stand in there, that also is really great to do before you build out your own van, because you can figure out what you like and what you don't like. Is having upper cabinets cramped for you? Do you like the shower? Does it take up too much space for you? And you're okay with just going to Planet Fitness? You can answer some of those questions by actually just getting into other people's campers and kind of having a test run. So when I was building my van, I said to myself, I don't need a bathroom. I'm going to be city camping 99% of the time, and there's just going to be a Walmart or a porta potty or something I can go in, which has been absolutely true. There has not been a time where I've been like really panicking yet. But with that, I also bought like a funnel for emergencies, and it's not just been for emergencies. Like, when you buy a bathroom in your van, stop telling yourself it's for emergencies. Like, it's not going to be. Like, if it's there, you're going to use it. I did not expect to fully fall in love with building out my van. Like, I had never touched a power tool in my life. I was a little scared. I have a video of me looking at a jigsaw and saying, and it was like level difficult or level easy on the picture. And I was like, you liars, like, this is not easy. Like, this is very difficult. And I was like so scared of touching it. And I was like, oh my God. And now I love it. I'm so comfortable. You just have to dive right in. And once you're in it and you're doing it, I used to be a fashion design student, and so I kind of considered it like sewing with wood. It's probably a stretch, but you know what I'm saying. It's just another form of creation with a little bit more sharp item. And so I just really loved it. I loved the interior design. I loved getting to learn, and, you know, it just makes me want to build another van. If you hear nothing else I say for the rest of the video, hear this one, please. Do not underestimate your budget. If anything, just add like 1,000 plus to it just in case. It was my biggest mistake. So one, little things add up really quickly. Screws, I didn't budget for screws at all. I just was like, oh, they're like $5. Like, but you're buying so many of them that adds up very quickly. And then I didn't plan for where I was going to go after I did my build. So I was kind of thinking I would go west and south and somewhere warm, and I ended up going to Vermont where it's cold. So I had to buy a heater, which I wasn't thinking I was going to need right away, and winter tires. And then I had a maintenance bill all at the end of my build, and my budget it was garbage. Like, it was gone. And I had to work a job, and I'm still working a job. I never actually took time off. I've just been traveling and working because I messed that budget thing up. So think about that. So as you're building, you're going to meet a lot of really great people. And you're going to also talk to a lot of people possibly on like VanLife forums or Facebook pages. And they are all going to tell you that what they think and what they did is 100%, no doubt, absolutely the best way. Going any other way is just, it just is dumb. And what, you know, they're just going to be like so stuck on how they did it. And at the end of the day, what happens is you hear that 10 different times for 10 different ways to do things, and you get stuck, and you just get into this like choice paralysis where you're not actually building because you're just trying to choose which installation you want. And I mean, at the end of the day, if one of these installations was so much better than the others, we would know that, you know? So by watching a few videos and talking to a few people, you'll be able to gain enough knowledge to be able to make that choice. So talk to a few people, look at a few posts, watch a few videos, and make your choice. You likely already know what you're going to choose. You're just watching more videos to procrastinate actually getting out to your van and building. How do I know this? Most of my build time was research time. And I spent an entire month researching electrical before I decided to just go with my goal 0, and I love it. I do not regret it. I was so annoyed with researching it at that point, and it's a plug and play system, and I just was overwhelmed with the research of electrical systems, and there's no shame in that. There is no shame in that. Like, that's another thing that I regret, is like thinking there was shame in asking for help. Like, I had my heater professionally installed because I was worried about the gas pipe, like having to like, I think you have to like open it or whatever. When I decided I was going to have someone else do it, I just didn't research anymore. It was like one thing in my build I'm not going to look up at all whatsoever. And that backfired. But I'll talk about that another day. This is something that you can start working on before you even have the van, working and learning these things with your current vehicle. And that is learning maintenance and learning to drive better. So I destroyed my brakes because I'm not a good driver. And I just had them replaced like a week ago. And now I've actually, my dad's a driving teacher, so he taught me how to be better with brakes, and it was talking to me about what I could be doing better as a driver to save money. So looking into those things, because van repairs are very expensive. And then when it comes to van maintenance, hold that thought. So this is my replacement side mirror, and it was going to cost $900+ to have them replace it. This was $180 on Amazon, and I'm replacing it myself. So much money saved. And it's a little scary, but the thing is, there was 2 options of how to replace it. I could have, gone in there and had to solder like this wire back together, or I could just replace the whole thing. I was kind of scared of learning to solder, which is okay. It's valid. And I'm still fixing it myself. I'm just finding an easier way to fix it. And so if you can do that, just do whatever you can to the best of your ability, and don't be afraid to, get in there. I don't think that I needed beforehand a disclaimer of Instagram's not real, like those pictures aren't all what it's going to be like. What I needed was a disclaimer of people aren't going to support you most of the time. They're not going to understand what you're doing, especially in real life and not on social media. And people are going to say you're a trust fund kid, and that you didn't work hard for what you have, and that you work no job, and that you're just lazy, or they'll call you homeless, or just all those different things. And it is so easy to sit here and say, it just runs off my back, I just let it go, but I don't. It's what I'm, like, my goal for this year is to get better at that. But overall, what I would say is that just know that it's going to happen. Like, people are going to make mean comments to you, and just, hopefully you learn to get better at it. Like, I haven't figured that one out yet. Like, I'm working on that. I really am. This is something that I kind of figured out a little bit when it came to choosing my bed design. I originally wanted the dinette setup, and then people keep saying I'm just too lazy to use it every day, so they were like not ever actually converting it, and I was like, well, then you're losing all the storage space, but you're not using it. So in the end, I decided to go with the fixed bed, and I'm so happy for that. And that taught me that, looking back, I'm like, I wish I would have had that mindset in everything in my van of set everything up for the laziest possible version of yourself, because it gets messy in here so quickly. And it's just, if you can, whatever you have that can make everything so simple and easy and quicker, choose that, because you'll surprise yourself. And if you like, I'm not a lazy person, but I know I wouldn't have done the dinette, and I know that certain things I wouldn't have just gone above and beyond with, and that's just how it is. So know yourself and set up your van for that. Prepare your van for all 4 seasons, because whatever you're telling yourself you're going to do, plans might change. Plans might change. So I budgeted for a summer installation setup, and I then went and lived in Vermont in -20. And so I needed a heater, I needed winter tires, and at the end of the day, and I've heard it so many times too, is you think you're going to do one thing and you end up somewhere else. So just plan your van for all 4 seasons, because it's not worth it. I wish I would have known how much my cat was going to hate being in this van. My cat is such a drama queen, but everyone was like, you just have to acclimate them and just get them used to it. And I was like, all right, we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it. And she just, it wasn't for her. And now she's with my sister, who they love each other very much, and she's very happy there, but like, I miss her, and I wish, you know, like, I wasn't prepared for that. Like, I was like, oh, she's coming with me, and now I don't have a cat that I love very much, and she's just a little baby, so I miss her all the time. I really didn't fall for any of the Instagram, you know, normalize it, I'm gonna be traveling all the time and whatnot, but I did think finding community with van life would be a lot easier. And over here on the East Coast, there's no van lifers over here. They're far and few in between, and they're most likely just here for a stop. And so I just kind of thought I'd be seeing more van lifers, and I've actually only ever stepped in one other van, and I've only ever seen in person one other van lifer. So it's been 2 years. Just saying. So the thing about van life is it's often just kind of seen and thought of as minimalism in a way. And that's true, because you only have so much space, right? But I guess, people think that it makes them a minimalist, and it's like, I am not a minimalist. Like, I still have at one point I had 25 candles in this van. And I learned that when I don't have something that I love, and it's a guilty pleasure for me, I just buy it. So like, if I'm like, I'm gonna leave that, you know, at my parents' house, I don't need it, I end up buying it because I miss having it. So it's, you know, it's, in a way, I wish I just could go back and say to myself, just bring it. Just bring the things that you love. I don't think there was any way to really prepare myself for this, but I wish I would have known that there was going to be a lot of misogyny along the way. So people saying, who's going to build that for you? Your brother? Like, people assuming that a man was going to do a lot of things. You can't go into Home Depot. I actually always wore big oversized headphones into Home Depot because people would always come up to me and ask if I needed help, and they didn't always work there. They were just random men talking to me, and it's just like, do you need help? So annoying. And it's just the number of things, like people not believing I built my van, even though I have many videos on Instagram of that, is just frustrating. And it's just kind of how it is for women. And, you know, all we can do is keep presenting and showing that we are these things, and we are strong, and we are doing these things. But you can't change everyone. So I'm kind of going to speed round the rest of them, if that's all right. So starting with, don't be afraid to talk to people in the community. Don't feel like you're a nuisance, because you're not. And places for extra wiring to add more things after you finish your build can be really helpful in the long run. Keep every receipt. I wish I would have been better at that. I wish I would have had a really good tracking program for those kind of things. It helps a lot when you're going for insurance. Don't worry about finding the perfect job right away. For me, I worked a 9-to-5 for 2 years, and now I have a social media job, which is great and unexpected, and I love it, but it didn't happen right away. If you're going to paint your van with white paint, know it gets dirty really quickly. Regular things like daily tasks will take up most of your time and just triple what they used to be. If you're doing your build yourself, it's not going to be perfect, but at the end of the day, on a day-to-day basis, I notice like none of the mistakes that like were driving me crazy when I was building the van. So it's okay, I promise. Everyone wants to know what the cheapest option is for van builds, but if you buy the cheapest thing, you're going to have to probably replace it or deal with it or fix it later on. Stop lying to yourself. You're not actually stealth. People know you have solar panels up there, you have a fan up there, you have a Wi-Fi extender up there. We can all see that. You're not really that stealth. That's to myself. I'm talking to myself right now. Like, that's you might be joining van life for the sense of freedom, but routine is what's going to keep you sane, and having things be the same while things are constantly changing, because you are only human, and it just kind of helps and brings comfort of having some routines in your life. And that's it. I'm gonna go edit this video after this, and I'm so nervous that, like, it's just, I don't know. I've never made a video before, and I feel like I'm really putting myself out there, so I hope that this at least was helpful for people, because even if I'm making a fool of myself and I'm making a lot of mistakes, I just hope that I can help people be able to join this lifestyle and, you know, feel comfortable in that, because it can be really scary, and I get that, and I remember that. So I hope it was helpful. Thank you for listening, and this is just video 1, but I can't wait to be on video 100, a video 1,000. We're gonna keep pushing, and so if I'm making a fool of myself trying now, I hope you take a risk, whether it's with your van build or something else in your life, and, you know, put yourself out there, make a fool of yourself, because what's gonna happen? I'm just posting this on the internet for anyone to see. Okay, bye.